Hey, you're watching Tristar Digging. My name is Sam. We're starting a brand new job today. It'll be a series of videos coming from this. Let's get the equipment off the trailer and then we'll talk about what we got to do. Now then, the gang is all here. We got the dozer, the Cat 313, the baby mini excavator, and the Cat 259 skid steer. We've got enough machinery here to take care of this job, and the job at hand is this. Got a brand new house going in here, and the house is 30 feet this way, and I think it's like 57.6 going this way. Pretty cool place and a great view for this house. And we got Michael, who is the contractor I work for. He'll be here in a few minutes. Got to lay out the basement, set the benchmark of what the subgrade needs to be, figure out what our overdig is, and then we'll be ready to start moving some dirt on this job. But in the meantime, while he is on his way, I'm gonna get started digging the basement with this big old fancy looking Chinese mini excavator. I have teased giving this thing away in the last couple of months in several videos, and the time is coming up. I have a plan for that. The plans are finalized for the giveaway, and that's going to happen on October the 25th in Cleveland, Tennessee at Wholesale Supply. They're having a benefit, I guess you call it a benefit, a fundraiser fish fry for the community kitchen in Cleveland, Tennessee. The community kitchen, last year, if I got my numbers right, they've served over 30,000 meals to people that are in need, folks that are hungry in Cleveland, Tennessee. So in order to join that effort, we are going to put this mini excavator up for grabs. And in just a few minutes, I'm going to talk a little bit more in detail about how you do that. So let's get started doing a little bit of dig here and see what this thing can do. Probably not much. We're going to try it. Doing there was digging down with the little mini excavator there. I wanted to see how deep it was before we got into some good clay as we dig this basement. So you see from right here down to about right here is some kind of topsoilish, I'm saying top, that's saying that loosely, topsoilish material. Got a lot of fine rock in it as well. And then that clay layer starts right there and goes down. Hey, I want to jump in the video here just for a second and talk to you about this little mini excavator behind me. I have teased this giveaway of this mini excavator in several videos that leading up to today, and now I finally have a plan. And that plan is, as I've mentioned many times before, is to give this mini excavator away to one lucky person. And the way that you get that, we're going to have a fish fry at the Wholesale Supply Group in Cleveland, Tennessee at that business. I'll put the address on the screen. And the ticket to win the mini excavator is $25. If you buy 4 tickets, you'll get a 5th one free. So for $100, you get 5 chances at it. I'm going to put my email on the screen. It's tristardigging@gmail.com. You can reach out to me and we can talk about how to get you the ticket and get you entered into the drawing of this. As I mentioned, 100% of the proceeds from your purchase of those tickets is going to the community kitchen to help them with the need that they have for a building. Well, good luck to you, and I will also be there on that day, October the 25th. It starts at 11:30 and runs till 2 o'clock. I'll probably be there a little bit early. Great opportunity for me to meet you and just say I appreciate you and appreciate what you're doing to support the channel, and just a good time for a shake and howdy. So I hope to see you there, and give me a shout about those tickets. Now the fish fry is a separate deal. It's a $15 if you get the tickets before the day. If you get the tickets the day of, while you're there, they're $20. So $25 for a chance to win the mini excavator, and you do not have to be present to win. I am finally ready to start digging this basement out. As I mentioned earlier, Michael was here, we got it laid out. This is my cut line. It's 2 feet off of the edge of the house, which would be right here. What I'm going to do first, because the machine is sitting at an angle, I've got to get this track elevated so that I'm digging level as I'm going back through. If I don't, if the bucket's digging and you're digging at that angle, you're undercutting your bank down that way. So it needs to be a straight up and down vertical wall. I was getting ready to start digging and I just remembered that I haven't spoken about a benchmark. So let's talk about that just for a second. When Michael was here, we measured down from the top where I'm digging up to the very high point of the house, and we figured out what we wanted the basement floor to be, the subgrade. And that is this depth right here. I've got a benchmark here, and then I got another one tucked and hid over in the woods over there just in case I lose this one. Now then, basically what I'm trying to do is establish with my laser, which is sitting right up there, is this benchmark. And then once I do that, I'm gonna dig up here with the excavator, dig down till I hit that benchmark, and then I'll know how deep to dig the rest of the basement based on that. I hope that made sense. I tried if it didn't. Make a couple passes here, make sure I'm on my line, and I am. Now that we're ready to start digging. One more swipe over to get to what's left of that. Right there, which it did. And now then, we can start digging into our subgrade. I'm gonna go ahead and get this. I didn't need that right there. I'm not sure why I did that. I'm not gonna be that far digging down there. Let's get this out of the way as well. Take a little bit of that, put it behind me here to keep my ramp going, keep me level. Now then, let's start digging. I'm just gonna lay this stuff over here in the middle for now, and I'll take the dozer and push that out of the way here in a little bit. The way I do it, and the way you want to, I think you'd want to do it, is when you're digging your perimeter out, you don't want to dig any dirt out to your left, because that's going to let your bucket walk away from that bank as you're digging down. So if you've got dirt on your left and on your right as you're digging down, that keeps your bucket square going down. That is some shell down in there, and that's might be kind of tough to dig when we get a little deeper. Well, that's how we're going to get started. You see my vertical wall starting there. We'll work on this for a little while, and I'll bring you back with a progress report just shortly. I'll stop there a second and check my grade, because I think I'm getting close. Yep. I am about 2 inches from being on grade right here, so I'm gonna dig that down right quick, establish that, and I'll be able to set the computer in the excavator. What I'm trying to say is I'll set the I don't know what I'm trying to say. Let's just keep working. I'm trying to set the computer in the excavator. That's what I'm trying to say. That is hard stuff down there in the bottom, fellas. Woo. Now then, let's check that. That should be pretty good. That's it right there. Now then, what I was trying to say is I'll set the teeth of the bucket down in there at where my grade rod is, right there, which is on grade, and I'll set that as my benchmark. This 313 excavator has a computer system that is built into the machine that does grade control. And so once I set my benchmark, I'm actually going to come up above my benchmark about 6-8 inches. That way I don't make any mistakes and get too far below. Because with the dozer, I can come through and then clean that 6 or 8 inches off, no problem, get that down on perfect grade. And I'm going to work on that for a little while, and I'm going to get this perimeter wall dug out, and then we'll take a look at it before I dig the front wall. On that side wall, I measured out 2 feet from this stub and 2 feet from that stub, and then just kind of eyeballed that paint line down through there. This has been a longer run. I probably ought to make myself a line, straight line with a string. So let me get these stakes drove in the ground, and we will run that string and paint the line. Now that I got myself a good straight line and get this string wound up, start digging this one. Time for an update. I got this first side wall that you saw this morning, got that one dug out. Now then I have this end wall, or the front wall, dug all the way out to where I'm ready to start digging this second side wall. I got a little bit too far away from this bank. I'm gonna have to take that down just a little bit more, take a little bit more out of that. We got a little bit off, but now then I am to right here. I'm gonna bring the excavator up to there and cut that orange line out that you see. Got this end wall dug out and it's looking pretty good. And what I want to talk about now is the term daylight. When you hear me say, or you hear another excavator say you're going to daylight that out, what that means is that when you start digging, for instance back here, this area right here is pretty well on grade. That's about the same elevation as this. So what it means to daylight out is that you keep digging, and you can see this sidewall, you keep digging this same elevation all the way out until it hits daylight. That's what that term means. So where there's no more dirt to dig out. And so when you're digging on that level pad and you run out of dirt, that's daylighted out. That's basically what that term means. And we use that a lot for not irrigation, for drainage, basements, a lot of things like that. So that's why this basement is called a daylight basement, because the pad that the basement is on is daylight out all the way down to the pad. Now then, let's walk the trench back over here to the other side and take a look at it. And speaking of daylight out, that's what I have to do over there, is daylight that one out, because I just started there where the basement wall actually started. So and that is right here as we make the curve. Now then, I've got to dig this out. There's probably 5 feet of dirt right there. I'll dig this out until I hit daylight. We will get on to that in just a second. Scratch that idea for now. I need to get this stump out of the way before I end up running into it or backing into it or whatever could happen here. Let's get this thing out of the way. Look what a wad of roots that is. Good night. And that's just probably half of them. Gosh, I wish I'd quit slamming that bucket. See if that'll even come close to coming out. Oh yeah, come on tree. Come on tree. Come on tree. There you go. Good little tree. Come out there, tree. Nice. We'll set it over there with y'all. Oops, about hit you. Oh, that wouldn't have been good. I better quit messing around before I destroy the camera. Now then, let's clean up a few of these roots and we will be back to what we were doing. get this dug out, and you might notice that I'm a little bit sideways, setting sideways, which means that my bucket's gonna be digging down at an angle, which is not a big deal for this situation because it's not part of the basement wall. This is just a area that will be regraded. And what Michael said there a few minutes ago is that we probably will be building a retaining wall on this side right here. So it doesn't have to be a straight vertical wall. It's going to have some more excavation work done to it. And while I'm putting the camera down in the hole here, I want to mention the men's group that I've started on Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. here in the Cleveland, Tennessee area. If you're close to Cleveland, Tennessee, in Cleveland or passing through, you'd like to join us for that. 6 o'clock on Wednesday nights, and you can email me at tristardiggin@gmail.com, and I'll get you the info, the address, and where we're going to be at. Now then, that is got that taken care of. Any water that gets in there can run out. We are expecting some rain tonight and tomorrow, so I don't know if I'm gonna get to work tomorrow or not. Now that we've got a big old pile of dirt that's in our way, and I can't get the dozer behind it because obviously the walls I dug are in the way. I'm gonna spend a few minutes here slinging this dirt off the wall so I can get in behind it with a dozer, and then I can start pushing it out of here. Dirt pile cleared away from the basement wall. Now what I need to do is get the dozer up in here and push it right over in there. Is the best place we've got to store it. Let's get the dozer fired up and start pushing some dirt. If I can jump this ditch and not fall in. Oh, I made it. We'll get some of this dirt out of the way. I buried the tripod. Let's see if we can get that out, that bend in the leg on it. Ooh, get out of there. I got it. Today I got all that dirt moved off of the inner part of the basement, and I'm gonna get this thing flagged off with some tape so nobody will drive or walk off in that. That would be a bad day to walk off into that or drive, either one. I'll be back in the morning. We'll start buck hogging this dirt out of there. This basement will be done tomorrow as far as getting the bulk of the dirt out, and probably even finished grade, subject to the rain. I hope we don't get a whole lot of rain. But anyway, see you in the morning. Hey, I've made it back out here this morning, and it rained a lot last night, yesterday evening, last night, and a little bit this morning. But we're gonna work anyway. The ground's a little bit wet, but not too bad. We're gonna be hogging out this dry dirt out of this basement, throwing it back there. By the time that I dig this out, throw it back there, and start mixing it up with a dozer, push it over there in the pile, it won't be anything. It'll dry it out, and we'll be just fine. Hey, I want to mention also, if you want to get yourself a cool Tristar Diggin t-shirt or Tristar Diggin hat. Actually, that's not a Tristar Diggin hat. That's an E&K Septic and Excavating. So you can reach out to me at tristardiggin.com. That's my website where all it is, tristardiggin.com. Let's get busy. I've been digging now for a couple hours, I guess. Time to move some dirt, probably past time. I've got two big piles of dirt that are in my way, and I've really got them stockpiled too high. I should have stopped a while ago. Wish this thing quit jumping. So let's climb out here and take a look where we are. Actually, before I do that, let me crawl off in the hole here and get the excavator out of the way of the dozer. Make myself just a tiny bit of ramp right there. And on this side. Now, let's get off in here. You can also use your bucket. Put your bucket down and kind of brace yourself going in. Just like that. Let's take a look now what I've got taken care of so far in a couple hours, and made some good progress actually. This is where I started this morning, was right here in this corner. I started digging. Matter of fact, I was set y'all right there. I was doing that time lapse, digging that out. But now then you can see a big, huge pile of dirt there, and another big pile of dirt there. I think once I get those out of the way, I'll be able to get the dozer in here and start pushing dirt out of here rather than digging it out. That may be more efficient, and then we'll see how long it takes me to get these dirt piles out of the way, and then we'll come up with a game plan from there. I'll tell you what we need to do. We need to just get rid of this the easy way. And a short 2 hours later, we got that dirt moved out of the way. I got that all cleaned off now from there all the way over to here. All that's pushed over there into a pile. Now then, what we have left is this chunk right through here all the way over to there. I'm figuring that'll take a couple more hours and a couple more hours pushing, and we ought to be pretty close to having this thing down to where we can put it on grade. Have a little bit of lunch here and we'll get back at it. I reset my benchmark and I'm ready to start digging again, and that thing is beeping at me and I don't know why. Okay, now it stopped. In the video that I did yesterday, when I was talking earlier in this video actually, I was trying to spend a lot of time there trying to make sure that the machine was level side to side, and that was basically for those perimeter walls. I'm not concerned at all about my side to side right now, because I'm just trying to dig this down to where it's a few inches from being on grade, and that doesn't matter if I'm setting a little sideways or not, because I'll come through here with a dozer, clip all this down and get it perfectly level and on grade. Now then, let's get as much of this dirt hogged out of here, and we should be able to finish this thing up today. Making some really good progress. I've got a bunch of this area taken out right here, but what I did just a few minutes ago as I was pushing the spoils off into the pile is I cut myself an entrance into the pad area, and now then I can back that dozer in and start pushing out, and that'd be my plan here for the rest of the day. Got the excavator moved up on top of the hill to block anybody from going off in here a little bit later when I leave, but like I said, I'll back in here and push this out, push several pushes. Then I'll turn around and push it off up in the spoil pile. We should be able to knock this out pretty quickly now. I think this dozer would be more efficient at doing that than it would be to do the rest of that with the excavator. So let's get started on it. you call a big old pile of dirt, and it's still growing. I still got more material to put up here. Clean up from this area right here. Let's take a look now at the pad, the basement pad area, and see where we are on that. The pad is now roughed in. All the dirt is out of the hole, so to say, and I've got a little bit in this corner here to clean up in the morning, and then I'll put the grade control system on the dozer. I'll start clipping this down, getting it on grade, but I'm gonna do that in another video. I hope you enjoyed this one. The next video on this job site will be doing the finished grade on the pad and then building the rock pad for the concrete walls that are coming. That's going to be an interesting little job, because there's no footers for those precast concrete walls. They just set on 8 inches of compacted washed stone. So that's going to be a pretty cool setup for that. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video there, and before I get into the message, I'm going to give you a sneak peek of the finished product. There it is. I told you it's a sneak peek. I can't show you too much because you won't watch the next video. Anyway, I appreciate you watching. And what I was thinking about in the message was along the lines of that mini excavator giveaway. You know, I mentioned in that 100% of the proceeds is going to go to the Cleveland Community Kitchen to help feed the hungry folks in and around the Cleveland, Tennessee area. And like I said, an estimated 30,000 meals was fed last year, and they do a great work for that. What the passage of scripture that reminded me of, we find in Matthew chapter 25, verse 35, and it says this: "For I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you took me in. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you took care of me. I was in prison and you visited me." Then the righteous will answer the Lord and say, "When did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and take you in, or without clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and visit you?" And then in verse 40 it says this: "And the king will answer them, I assure you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers of mine, you did for me." Those passages of scriptures reminds us, it tells us that God keeps score. I don't know other way to say it. God keeps a record of your life and mine, and how we did things in this life to be a help and a blessing to other people. The most important thing that we can do, first of all, because good deeds won't get you to heaven. You know, you can do all the good deeds you want to do, but we first have to be saved. We first have to place our faith and trust in Jesus Christ, the finished work on the cross and what he accomplished. And then upon salvation, then there should be works in our life, not to maintain salvation, not to earn our salvation or keep our salvation, but there should be good works that follow the act of salvation that takes place in our life. And that's what that talked about: feeding the hungry, feeding the thirsty, clothing those who are needing clothes. And so it's important. God sees it as important. He saw it so important that he wrote it in his word. So I hope this has been an encouragement to you. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that you are believing in Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. If you're not, that is the most important decision you can ever make. And you can do that even before this video closes. It's about ABCR: admitting you're a sinner, believing in Jesus and who he said he was, confessing him as Lord, and then the R is repenting, turning away from your sin, turning to a life in Christ, to obey him and to serve him. So God bless you, and I appreciate you watching.